Hi everyone, it's Quickie Baby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today's video is going to be all about the Sandbox Test Server and Crew 2.0. Now, I know, it's taken me a long time to be able to make this video, but that's because I consider it to be very important to try and holistically assess the situation. It's just taken me a while to be able to try and get it through my head and try to sum up everything. I realize the gravity of the situation here. Crew 2.0 is, if it happens, is probably going to be the most dramatic change to a game which I have loved over the last 10 years. And today I'm going to outline the good things about it, definitely the bad things about it, and then the downright ugly things about it that could frankly just destroy World of Tanks. So firstly, it would be unfair of me to not clarify immediately in this video that this is a sandbox test server. Just what is a sandbox test server? Well, it's a special environment where Wargaming allow you to be able to test some of the things that they possibly want to go into World of Tanks. It's not like a common test server. A common test server, you can be pretty sure that about 80 or 90% of the content will go into the game. For the sandbox test server, at least from my opinion in previous sandbox test servers, I'd say about a third to half of the content will eventually go into World of Tanks. And so if you like what you see in this video, don't get super excited immediately, and if you hate what you see in this video, then you definitely need to get vocal about it and deliver your feedback as effectively as you can. And if you want to get on the sandbox test server, I'm not sure if today is going to be the last day about it, but you can download it, get on there, test all the changes yourself, earn some rewards for the regular server for your account, and then deliver your feedback to Wargaming about it. As the name suggests, Crew 2.0 completely changes the way that crews work in World of Tanks. In today's video, unless I want it to be 2 hours long, I'm not going to cover the way that all of the changes have happened. You can probably find an article on Wargaming's website and be able to see for yourself, or go onto the sandbox test server. In today's video, I really want to highlight on the conclusions that I've been able to draw from it and try and keep this video focused, and so it tries to collate feedback for Wargaming and also be a destination for discourse in the comments down below to see how the World of Tanks community feel. So without further ado, let me highlight some of my favorite things about Crew 2.0. Firstly, Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense is a special skill which will be available for everyone without any kind of crew training. As soon as you get a commander inside World of Tanks, Sixth Sense, which I guess I need to lean a little bit for you to be able to see here, will be available. Now, all of you veteran World of Tanks players out there will know just how important Sixth Sense is. It's almost impossible to be able to play without it, and so the idea of giving that to all players is absolutely fantastic. I've always been an advocate for less disparity between the players in World of Tanks. I want to be able to beat my opponents because I play better than them, not just because I have advantages, and I know when I've been spotted and they don't. I have to admit, I'm going to be a little bit salty that I've kind of spent so much free experience in boosting so many commanders and spent millions and millions of credits into boosting up lots of crews to have Sixth Sense. But you know what? I can try and be the bigger person. I've spent that credits, I've spent that free experience, I've had the advantages, but I don't think it's sustainable going forwards that we can expect that such an important thing such as Sixth Sense is not universal for all players right from the get-go. A great change by Wargaming there. Next up, it's an absolutely fantastic change that Wargaming are effectively allowing people to recruit 100% crews for free right from the get-go. So for example, let's say that I want to have a crew inside my Fury. I just click the recruit crew button, I choose how I want my crew to look, and I can even recruit female tankers, although they don't come with a 0 skill brothers in arms anymore. I can choose their name as well. It doesn't cost me anything. That's fabulous. That's really fun. There you go. You get a commander right from the get-go. This again, like Sixth Sense, will reduce the disparity between new players and players who have 100% crews. And I think it's a fantastic change for the lower tiers. I've been suggesting that Wargaming give free crew members at 100% right up until tier 4 for years, and I really hope, irrelevant of whether Wargaming incorporate Crew 2.0 into the game or not, that they definitely find a way to be able to reduce this disparity between the players. Fantastic change. Next, let's talk about crew skills, something very important. I'm not going to talk about how long it takes to be able to get them in the system right now, but I just want to highlight that I think that the variety and the way that you can specialize your tank is actually really good. There's a new system of talents. So for example, if you play an autoloader, you can get a rapid fire talent, which will mean that you have better aim time and dispersion for 5 seconds after you manage to crit or damage your opponent. fabulous for a TVP build. Or alternatively, maybe you like playing aggressive light tanks or wheeled vehicles. Well, 5 seconds after you start moving, you're going to have a better rate of fire, and you're also going to have 3% increased view range. There are other new crew skills, such as needs for speed, for example, that when you reach 40 kilometers an hour, your dispersion will decrease, and so you're going to be able to be more accurate on the move. There are also interesting crew skills such as close combat, where if you are within 50 meters of an enemy vehicle, that all of your crew skills are just increased. Old Guard as well, where if you take internal module damage, you're subsequently less likely to take further module damage after you've repaired it, of course. And there's finally a crew skill like Pain Threshold in the game, which allows you to reduce the chance of your crew to be injured, and even if they are injured, then the negative effects will be reduced as well, which is kind of a replacement for Jack of all trades. I think all in all, the different kinds of crew skills that are available are wonderful, and while some of them undoubtedly are a little bit too good and overpowered, I think with fine-tuning, those ones could be nerfed and other ones could be buffed, and it could be a very interesting system to be able to specialize your tank. And as everyone will know, adding variety and specializing allows you to be able to play tanks in ways that you want to, rather than just having like a one-size-fits-all way of playing a tank. And I think with Equipment 2.0 and what possibly could be Crew 2.0, it'll be more interesting than ever to be able to play your vehicles in different ways. I also think that the interface, while it might appear a little bit confusing for some people out there, after I spent maybe 5 or 10 hours with the interface, that does sound like a long time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not the longest of time. I do feel like it's better. And for me, the idea that I can quickly go in and apply some different crew skills in other areas, save, and then be able to jump into a battle. Maybe I need to reset those crew skills, then I can either do it for 150,000 credits, but not lose any penalty, as in crew experience for doing so, or alternatively, I could use a retraining order, which will allow me to do it for free, and then be able to reassign crew skills. That's pretty cool. It's a nice system. I like it. Another nice thing about the system is the ability to be able to train your crews to different vehicles. So for example, here is my crew for the Object 268 version 4. Once I reach a certain milestone, which is either going to be a level 15 commander or a level 45 commander, unless you want to pay the 750 gold to get it immediately, then you're going to be able to have the option to be able to train the crew for another tank. And no, we're not talking about a premium tank here, we're talking about regular tech tree tanks. And that will allow me, for example, to be able to play my Object 268 version 4 crew in my Object 268, which is a nice little perk if, for example, you play different kinds of tanks along a tech tree. So I personally am quite excited about the idea of having my crew in the Stridsvagn 103B, but I also really enjoy playing the UDES along that tech tree, so that will stop me from having to have 2 different crews in tanks of those types. And it also makes it less painful to go up the tech tree and to feel that maybe once you reach tier 8 that you could just add on their ability to play in the tier 9 and the tier 10 if you don't want to have to sell those vehicles because you kind of enjoyed them. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, that in my opinion is where the good news for Crew 2.0 changes into the bad news for Crew 2.0. And that is that you might have seen that I just brushed over how expensive it was to train crews for different vehicles. And that is that if you want to use your crew in another tech tree tank, it's going to cost you 750 gold per vehicle. Now, all of the free-to-play players out there will be just absolutely scoffing right now at the idea of spending 750 gold to just be able to use a crew in another tech tree tank. So what are the free options? Well, there's an option where you lose 10% of your overall crew skill, and you have to pay 500,000 credits. And that is just absolutely outrageous. Now, we're talking about incredibly skilled crews here, which we've put hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of hours into if you have your really skilled crews. And having to be able to give up all of that experience is just simply preposterous, as well as spending 500,000 credits. To put this into perspective, for my crew that's in the Object 268 version 4 here, I would have to give up 858,000 experience, as well as spending 500,000 credits. Now, 858,000 experience, if you're making it about 1,000 experience per game, is obviously going to be 858 battles. 858 battles at roughly about 7 minutes a game, divided by 60. You're kidding me. I'm losing 100 hours of crew training. 100 hours of crew training just to be able to put them on another tank. All right, well, how else could we get 858,000 experience? Well, we could use crew books, I guess, and crew books give 250k each, meaning that I'm going to need to spend 8 million credits on crew books to be able to put them in that tank. And I don't think that is a small chunk of change for anyone inside World of Tanks, irrelevant of whether you have premium vehicles, a premium account, credit boosters, and you've got all the time in the world to be able to grind at tier 8, and you love Frontline, so you want to spend all of your time in there as well. 8 million credits just to have the luxury of putting a crew in another tech tree tank doesn't really feel like so much of a luxury anymore. Next, a lot of you might be wondering, well, what happens to my current crews inside Crew 2.0? Well, the highest level commander is 75. How much experience are you going to need to be able to reach level 75? Well, it is actually about 6.5 million experience. And so let me show you the process with, for example, my E100 crew. So as you can see, my E100 crew, this is one of my classic crews in World of Tanks. In fact, these might be my original crew inside the game. They have nearly 4 skills. Well, should I say their 4th skill is at 71%, and they definitely do the business for me when I'm playing them currently on the account. My commander has 6th Sense, Brothers in Arms, Repairs, and Recon. My gunner has Repairs, Snapshot, Armorer. My driver's even got Preventative Maintenance and Clutch Braking to be able to help me turn quicker. My radio operator has Situational Awareness and even Firefighting on this vehicle to help, as well as both of my loaders with Safe Stowage and also with Adrenaline Rush and Firefighting. I feel that even though I don't have my 4th skill completed on the E100, that crew kind of feels complete to me. I feel like they are just as competitive as everyone else. I have enough crew skills to feel like I am the E100 in its perfection on the battlefield. So what happens if I convert this crew that I feel is at optimum competitive nature on the current version of the game in Crew 2.0? Yeah, you're going to get 49 skill points out of 75. I'm just going to do it. This is painful, but I'm just going to do it. Congratulations, you've reached a new level. Affirmative. Okay, Wargaming, you realize that now, let's say, for example, these aren't the crew skills I would take on the E100. I can have 1 talent, because I've spent my 30 points, and now I've only got 19 points to spend. I can't even get my 2nd talent, let alone the other extra points. This is an absolute disaster. My E100 will go from being pretty much just as competitive as anyone's crews, irrelevant if they've got 6 skills, 7 skills, 8 skills. It's not really too much of a point of having that much of an experienced crew in the E100. Let me clarify that also it's taken me a long time to be able to get that crew in the first place. We're talking about hundreds of hours of gameplay in my German heavy tanks to be able to earn that 3 to 4 skill crew. And now in the current Crew 2.0 system, it's not even going to feel like I am remotely competitive compared to somebody who has a lot of crew skills. And that's because effectively what Wargaming have done is they've taken the level 75 commander inside the Crew 2.0 and they've matched it up as if you have completed your 5th skill in World of Tanks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how many of you have many commanders with 6 skills? And I'm not talking about Brothers in Arms crews here, because Brothers in Arms crews have effectively 1 skill for free. So if we're talking about Brothers in Arms crews, how many of you have got 7 skills on your Brothers in Arms crews? I'm not sure if that's going to be in every tank in your garage. Let me put it to you like this. If Crew 2.0 happens, effectively, unless you have 6 skill crews in your tanks, you're going to be very uncompetitive compared to people who do. So let's look at another example. I've got my STB1 crew here. I've nearly got 5 skills completed, but that's because it's a 0 skill crew with 6th Sense and Brothers in Arms. How many crew points am I going to get? I'm going to get 58. Oh, boys and girls, this is a crew that is only several % away from being able to be a 6 skill crew in the current version of the game. And if I convert them, I'm only going to get 58 points out of 75. If Crew 2.0 happens in this current stance, I can tell you, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, that the vast majority of World of Tanks players have about 2 crew skills, and maybe on their better vehicles, they're probably going to have 4, possibly 5, and very, very seldomly they're going to have 6. And with this new system in place, you are going to be at a massive disadvantage compared to anyone who has literally focused on playing only one tank, and they've got 6 or 7 or even 8 skills in the vehicle in the Crew 2.0 system. And if you think I'm being over dramatic, frankly, I'm really not. Let's just talk about the different skills that you will be missing if, for example, you only have a 5 skill STB1 crew in the current version of the game. You could be missing a skill like Fighting Spirit, which will make your crew skill go up by 2.5% for every kill you get in the battle, meaning that after 3 kills, you'll be 7.5% extra crew skill. That's the equivalent of a bounty vent inside the game currently. Or maybe you could miss the Applied Mechanics talent, which means that after you use a repair kit, that your reload speed will be improved by 7.5%, turning high DPM tanks into utter monsters on the battlefield. It also makes it incredibly frustrating because if you wanted to, I don't know, go for a specific talent, maybe I wanted to be able to go for the Fighting Spirit talent, then that means that I can't get another talent, but I'm also going to have to invest points in a tree where I eventually want to go and get that talent. And for example, I'm not going to get the rapid fire talent like I might want to have in the STB1 or the clean shot talent, and I can't even have repairs as default. Effectively, what the new system means is that you're going to have to make huge sacrifices until you get fully trained up commanders, and it's just absolutely preposterous to me. That currently you can very quickly have a full repair crew while also maybe having Snapshot, Adrenaline Rush, Brothers in Arms, all of these things. And in the new system, you're going to have to make huge sacrifices. Because who wants to spend 10 points on off-road driving, for example, compared to only spending 10 points to get 5% crew skill? Next, a lot of you might be thinking, well, what happens to my current 0 skill crews? Are they literally just going to be thrown away? Well, that's not the case because they're going to be turned into instructors. Now, what do instructors do? Instructors, firstly, they have different tiers. There are tier 1 instructors, or class 1, class 2, and class 3. And they provide bonuses to the amount of experience that your crew are going to be able to achieve inside the vehicle. But also, what they do is they actually boost the individual skills of the tank as well. So for example, here we have Angela Di Natale, and she could provide +2 points to firefighting, +1 point to quick repair, +2 points to pain threshold, or +1 to close quarters combat. And if I was to train that to the vehicle and apply it to the STB1, when I now go into the points, we can see that they have been boosted up. Now, what's wild about this system is think about how many female tankers you have. Think about how many special crew members you have. Sure, it might be okay for you, the player who's been playing World of Tanks like me for 10 years, and you have loads of these instructors and you're going to be able to put them on all of your different vehicles. But for the vast majority of World of Tanks players, especially those just starting out, do you think they're going to be able to put instructors of which you can have up to 4 slots on your individual tanks, as we can see here? Frankly, they're not. They're not going to be able to have all of the instructors. And if you think that it's very easy to be able to take the instructors off a tank that they're assigned to and be able to move them onto another vehicle, well, you can do it for free, but that instructor's then going to become unavailable for 7 days and then you can reassign them. Or alternatively, you can pay Wargaming 200 gold to be able to do it immediately. It's absolutely laughable, the idea of spending 800 gold to purely be able to move 4 instructors onto another tank. And these instructors effectively just absolutely break the game. For example, you can boost up the concealment of an EBR to +20 instead of having only +10. And this means that my EBR, for example, can now achieve 60% camouflage. Now, this is purely because of the different instructors that we have on the vehicle. And if I was to remove those instructors, the camo rating would go down to about 50 or nearer 45. How are new players able to compete? How are even just your average World of Tanks players able to compete with me with every advantage that I have driving around in my EBR with 60% camo, and also I can achieve 471 meters view range, and that's before I start driving, and it's going to go up to about 490. Really, the whole system just hasn't been thought through enough. And while I will forgive Wargaming because it's a sandbox test server, I'm very worried that there just hasn't been the quality control to be able to consider this. Alright, so my next point is that what's even worse is these instructors. They are assigned random bonuses to your perks once you click them. So let's say that I want to have an M48 crew. How do you go about getting a new instructor? Well, what you do is you have to click the instructor and then you see that you have to select a certification. Let's say I want to put him into tactics because I really want to be able to get myself coherence, which increases the overall crew skill of the vehicle. I click select and oh, I actually got lucky. Look, I got coherence. That's fantastic. So let's go and put the coherence new instructor on my M48. Beautiful. Let's try and do it again. Let's go and add a new guy. Okay, let's try and find where I can assign them from. I can assign them from here. Let's go and get tactics again. I click that. Oh dear, no coherence that time. Oh well, I guess he's going to just be thrown away. All right, let's click another one. Let's click him in. Did I get coherence this time? Yes, I did. Okay, looks like I'm getting 50% lucky. Do you notice the RNG in this whole system? Do you notice how ludicrous it is that you can have a special instructor that you might have grinded to be able to get, or you might have even purchased, and there you go, no coherence there. So we're going to have to open up another one. Let's open up another one to see if we can get coherence this time. No coherence. I'll throw him away as well. Okay, let's see if we can even find where they are. Let's open up another one. We got our coherence, but did you see that to be able to get the coherence for 3 different crew members, we had to waste 3 instructors as well? These are not easy instructors to be able to get. Think about how hard it is to be able to get your 0 skill Brothers in Arms crews. If you complete a mission marathon, for example, you'll get the equivalent of 4 instructors. Now, I don't know how liberal Wargaming are going to be with them in the future if they decide to implement Crew 2.0, but at least for the most part, it's just absolutely preposterous for me that there's RNG with opening instructors, as if I'm playing FIFA and I'm trying to get some kind of a fancy footballer with the inform whatever. I don't play FIFA, I don't know. I'm just going on all of these ludicrous videos that you watch where people are sitting there and jumping up for joy that they got the special bloody footballer out the pack. I can tell you that that is what Wargaming effectively want to turn the instructor system into. And also keep in mind that you're not going to be able to even have 4 instructors on a vehicle until you get the commander up to 60, preventing you from being able to compete against people who've managed to get the commander up to 75, and they're going to be able to put 4 instructors on there as well. It's just absolutely ludicrous about the huge disparity that Wargaming are creating between players who have a huge amount of time on their hands, or let's be honest, a huge amount of money on their hands that they're willing to pay Wargaming to be able to get a huge advantage against all of the other players. It's absolutely disgusting, and all of the things that I commended Wargaming on, like 6 cents and giving everybody 100% commander for free to be able to lower the disparity for the new players, which are pretty much like 5% of the player base, are completely demolished because Wargaming is screwing over, and I can't believe they haven't really thought of this, I'd say about 80% of their player base with the new Crew 2.0 changes if they go into the game. Trust me that 80% of the players are not going to be able to compete with that top 10-20% who have all of the time in the world. They only want to play one vehicle, they only want to grind one vehicle to be able to be competitive in it. And this is what flabbergasts me as well. Wargaming, one of the reasons why I love your game and one of the reasons why I play World of Tanks is because I have over 600 different vehicles, and they provide me with the feeling of playing the game differently. All of them have different styles, different guns, different armor layouts, different, I'm going to sound weird here, but personalities. I'll be damned if the T95 doesn't have a personality. That's what has always got me hook, line and sinkered on this game, is that I have these wealth of tanks that I've collected over this time, and I feel like I can take them all out onto the battlefield and be competitive in them. And I don't feel that I needed to have 6 skill crews in all of the different tanks. I can tell you for certain that all of you players out there with 1 crew skill, 2 crew skills, 3 crew skills, 4 crew skills, or even haven't completed their 5th crew skill, you are going to be at a tremendous disadvantage compared to that one player who's willing to play 10,000 games in their Hetzer because they absolutely love it. So those were all of the things that I think are completely just bad about Crew 2.0. Now I want to talk about some of the real ugly ones that might start raising your eyebrows. So I've talked about the conversion system for your current crews. To be able to do that, what you do is you click this mobilize button, and then you can click the put the best reservists from the barracks into the vehicle. And so for example, I could turn my near 5 skill WZ-111 5A crew into a single commander that would provide 59 crew points. So I got thinking to myself, well, what happens if, for example, you take a crew and then you put them in a very small vehicle, like, I don't know, the Tier 1 Chinese Renault NC-31. Now, what happens if I send all of my NC-31 crew to the barracks and then I want to mobilize, and then, for example, I put in my WZ-111 5A crew into this tank? Well, you'll see that Wargaming suggests that I retrain the reservists to be able to continue. And now the commander is going to be level 59. Well, okay, I'm going to retrain the entire crew. So either I can lose 127,000 experience, or I can pay Wargaming 400 gold. Well, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to retrain them to the MS1, and then I'm going to convert them. There you go. So now what I've done is I've taken 2 of my crew members from the WZ-111 5A, put them in a tier 1 tank which only has 2 crew slots, and I've just created a level 59 commander. Alright, there we go, perfect. But what happens to my other 2 crew members that was in the WZ-111 5A? Well, what happens if I then send the crew member that I just created to the barracks, and then I want to mobilize some more? And then I click that fancy button again, but it doesn't put the correct reservists in. No. I want to put my gunner from the WZ-111 5A. Now Wargaming suggests that I retrain my gunner from the WZ-111 5A into a commander, which will cost me 200 gold. Okay, fine, I'll do that. Something that, of course, a free-to-play player couldn't do. And then what I'm going to do is look for my loader from the WZ-111 5A, convert him to fit in the NC-31 as well for another 200 gold, and then bam, I've got another level 59 commander, and I can just convert that as well. So now effectively what I've just done, just because I've got a lot of gold, is taken my crew, my 4 crew from the WZ-111 5A, divided them up into 2 sets of 2, converted them separately, and now I have 2 individual level 59 commanders. And then maybe I can just put one in the 113. Like this. How much is it going to cost me? Well, of course, I've got to filter out things. How much is this going to cost me? Oh my god. It's more, they just want you to pay again and again and again and again. So now I either have to sacrifice 460,000 experience and 500,000 credits, or I can just, throw Wargaming the extra 750 gold. Well, there you go. Now I've got a 59 level commander in my 113. Maybe I can do the same again for my WZ-111 5A. Yes, I can. There we go. Another 750 gold. This has cost me a lot. But the result is, just because I paid Wargaming money, that now I've got 2 level 59 commanders, and yeah, it just doesn't really sit very well for me. Why would Wargaming even put that in as a system? Well, clearly it's either an oversight on their behalf, or they're really just wanting to try and get as much gold as they possibly can out of the player base. And so finally, ladies and gents, I thought it'd be better to just show you the results of all of these different min-maxing scenarios of Crew 2.0 on the battlefield. Because the bottom line is that the way that the instructors work and the way that crew skills work makes some vehicles that have already got very impressive statistics have just completely overpowered statistics. Take, for example, the ELC EVA 90, a vehicle that's been plaguing me in World of Tanks recently due to its just outrageous camo. Well, what do you think happens if you take an ELC EVA 90 and you boost up its concealment, you give it a camo net, and you also then apply instructors that have concealment on it as well? Well, you pretty much just get a tank that has nigh on 70% camo rating. Now, I'm sitting in a bush. Doesn't seem very special, right? You might be thinking, oh, is this even impressive? Anyone could just go into a bush. Maybe the convoy got unlucky. And then this is where I just decide, as I was streaming, that I really wanted to prove to you that it wasn't because of the bush, but it was because of the crew statistics. I'm sitting still here with nigh on 70% concealment. If somebody has 500 meters view range, they pretty much have to get to about 160 meters to be able to see me. And you can see that I can just sit in the middle of the map. I don't even have to sit in a bush. Light tanks aren't spotting me. The convoy isn't spotting me. Charview Tier 4 isn't spotting me there. The heavy tanks that are over there aren't spotting me. It's just completely broken. This system has made it so that if you have a huge amount of crew skills and you know how to set the vehicle up right, that you will become just do stupid things. Is this what we want World of Tanks to be? And Crew 2.0, really what it's going to do is it's going to make some vehicles which are already very good just outrageously OP. I give to you an Object 268 version 4 with full ramming potential. This is taking controlled impact, getting it to level 10, and then having an additional 4 instructors to be able to get that up to 18. What do you think happens for a 268 version 4? So we just rammed that Object 907 for 943 damage. It didn't even look like the most impressive collision in World of Tanks. Yes, I'm not even going to fire for the rest of this game, or at least I am going to fire, but not right now. What am I going to pick now? How about the Object 140? 1,323 collision damage. Impressive, right? Okay, let's continue. We're up to 2,266 damage with our rams now. How about the Swedish medium tank? Will the Swedish medium tank be able to handle the situation? I guess not. We just dealt 3,299 damage, more than the vehicle could have possibly done if we were penetrating our opponents with our large caliber gun on this tank, just with ramming, because we set the vehicle up in a way. Now, some of you might be thinking, how long did you have to play on the test server to be able to achieve a result like this? It wasn't the first game I played. It took me about 3 or 4 rounds. It was very reproducible. Trust me, if you're watching the streams, you would know that. Crew 2.0 has so many issues that I'm very, very happy that it's a sandbox test server. I don't really know what those medium tanks were meant to do against me. Were they meant to shoot me in the tracks and just not deal damage? Were they meant to have controlled impact setups as well? No. There was nothing they could do. They couldn't fight back against a setup like this on the Object 268 version 4 in the scenario that they found themselves in. And this brings me to my final point, and definitely the most ugly thing about Crew 2.0. And that is that once you've managed to get your commander to level 75, that's not it. There are also these prestige levels that you can unlock where you can take your commander from level 75 rank 6 up to level 75 rank 1. So what do you get once you go up a level at level 75? So if I want to increase my crew's efficiency here, I'm going to go from level 75 rank 6 to level 75 rank 5. What happens? It's going to cost me 47,000 free experience. Okay, here we go. What does my commander get? 5% crew skill, which is now called vehicle handling, bizarrely enough. But lo and behold, there is the vehicle handling at 120%. All right, well, why don't I do it again? What's going to happen if I want to use a few crew books? So let's slam a crew book in. We're going to have to apply one. That's 2 million credits. Apply another one, another 2 million credits. Okay, now we've gone up to rank 5, complete. We just got another 4% crew skill. Can we do it again? Well, how many books are we going to have to use this time? We're going to have to use 4 books, another 8 million credits. And bam, we get ourselves another 3% crew skill. And this goes on and on. For example, here's my EBR crew, which is definitely my most experienced crew inside the game. I have 140% crew skill from the professional expertise bonus, meaning that even without having the final rank, I just have a 17% increased crew compared to everyone else. That's preposterous. How are they meant to play against me if my EBR from that is going to be able to see, I guess, 8.5% further than them? Or my reload is going to be 8.5% better than them? Or my camo rating is going to be overall 8.5% better? Spoilers. They're really not. They're never going to be able to compete. This game and multiplayer gaming is based on margins. A 1% advantage is huge. 2, 3, 4%, massive. But the idea that you're going to have to play an individual vehicle that much to be able to gain an insurmountable advantage against your opponents leads me to question, are you winning because you're good at the game, or are you just winning because you have 40% more advantage than they have? And that's why, while I've highlighted the good things about Crew 2.0, All in all, I think we should be calling this Rubicon 2.0. Wargaming, you've really got to go back to the drawing board. There are massive improvements that you have to make, huge sweeping issues that you're going to be creating with this. You will alienate 80% of your player base, and instead of reducing the disparity between players and allowing people to get competitive faster, you're going to increase the disparity. If you're a competitive player and you play Clan Wars, it's going to be almost mandatory that you have a 6, if not a 7 skill crew in the current system of things before you're probably even going to be considered for your clan's competitive matches. If you're a player who plays the game to be able to go and smash your marks of excellence or achieve a fantastic win ratio in the game, you're going to feel that whenever you play a tank that doesn't have an incredibly good crew, that you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. The game will become more pay to win than ever as more and more players have to spend 750 gold to have the luxury of taking their epic crew and putting them in all of their other vehicles, because it's an insurmountable thing to be able to have to train up the crew in multiple tanks. So Wargaming, I'm going to say thanks, but also no thanks to Crew 2.0. Seriously, I would very much question the very fundamentals of the system, and I would implore you to not implement the vast majority of the content that we have seen on the Crew 2.0 sandbox test server. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about Crew 2.0 as well. Did you get on the sandbox test server and love it? Did you get on the sandbox test server and were alarmed at the fact that some of your most skilled crews, at least what you thought were good enough to play World of Tanks, were no longer able to do so? And let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree to the points that I've highlighted in the video today. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed the way that I summarized it. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase live right now on twitch.tv/QuickieBaby. And this week, you've all voted for Czechoslovakian autoloaders. I love this line. The tier 9 and the tier 10 are absolutely fabulous, and the tier 6s as well. So come along right now if you want to learn everything there is to know about the Czechoslovakian medium tanks, as I showcase the line from tier 1 up to tier 10 so you can become well informed about it. Or if you already know a few things, maybe you can pick up a few tips and tricks, or just laugh at me trying to autoload maniacally at my opponents. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you live right now on twitch.tv/QuickieBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.